Hey everybody, welcome back to Bookish Daddy. I've got a fun video for y'all today. So we are going to be doing my April reading wrap up and my May TBR. I'll be doing the TBR jar for some prompts. And then all of you, I did a poll on Instagram and you all chose between two books using emojis. I have the winner of that. We'll go over that when we get to that part of the video. I would like to start this, as always, by saying thank you all so much for watching my content, for subscribing to my channel, for commenting and giving me new book ideas, new books to read. Uh, all of your kindness and all of your engagement, it really does mean the world to me. I know I keep saying that, but you should probably get used to hearing it. I'm going to continue to thank you all because it really does mean a lot to me. I hope you all had a great weekend and a good May the 4th. I did a little poll on that as well on my YouTube channel and the Ewoks one. So I guess you're all not as dark and Sith like as me. And Jedi came in second, so Sith really, we just got destroyed. The Ewoks, cute and furry little guys, won it all. So let's get into this video, and I will be starting it with. So it's not quite the last month's reading wrap up. It's about 6 weeks instead of four. The move that we did recently threw everything off a little bit, and I was not able to do like half of March's reads. So this will be March and April's reads and kind of what I ranked them and rated them. So this first book, I am in a book club, and for that book club, this is the book that I picked. God Killer by Hannah Kaner. So I had super high hopes for this book. I thought it was going to be a 5-star read, and everyone else in my book group was kind of expecting the opposite. And it didn't turn out that way. I gave this 3 stars. Everybody else loved the book. To me, it was good, but it was just good. It wasn't great in any part. So the characters were good, the development, the world, the ending, all of it was good. Nothing was bad, but I don't think anything was like great. And for those of you who don't know what this book is about, I'll give a quick little description. So basically, it's a world where gods ran the world, and they got too powerful and started wanting like heftier sacrifices from people, such as human sacrifices and things like that, or everyone's wealth. So the people rose up. Some of the gods who disagreed with the larger gods also joined the humans, and these people called God Killers all rallied together, fought the gods, and now we're in this uh, post-apocalyptic world where the gods are like a shell of what they used to be, floating around, hoping for more, wanting even just the slightest prayer so they can gain some power. But people are over it. They don't want to give them that power anymore because of how much they took the first time. And the main protagonist is a god killer. Her job is to kill gods. And she is really unique and cool. So instead of being like a dainty princess, she is a gritty sword slayer. Also has a amputated leg, so she has a prosthetic leg, and she's just like a real gritty character, which I thought was super cool and unique. It's a good book. If you're wanting a quick, easy read that is fun, it's a fun read. It's a good read. It's 3 out of 5 stars. There's really no smut, no real romance. It was just kind of a unique world, and that was God Killer. So this next book I have read before. It is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Uh, I read this years and years ago, and I needed a palate cleanser from Sarah J. Maas in between. I think it was the tandem read and Kingdom of Ash. So I read this again and wanted to re-rate it now that I'm older and I had forgot a lot of it, and I gave it 5 stars again. It is phenomenal. I love this book. It is one of my favorite books I've ever read. The world building is so fun. It's cute. It's cozy. It's not super high stakes. There's no smut. There's no real violence. It's just a very fun, unique, interesting world. So this says it is Willy Wonka meets the Matrix, which is, as weird as that sounds, it's a very good description of the book. It really is Willy Wonka meets the Matrix. Uh, I can tell you a little bit about this one. So it is a world where there is a virtual reality set called the Oasis, and it is like a $48 billion invention where people at any point in time can like go into this world, and it is so advanced that you can even take your college courses in it. You can go out to like eat, like everything in this world is just, it's crazy. The inventor of this world put everything that he loved from his childhood, which was like the 80s, into this world. So it's immersed in that kind of, it's a futuristic 80s book, if that makes sense. Uh, and as he's dying, when he dies, he does not have any heirs. So kind of like Willy Wonka, he does a Easter egg in the system, and whoever finds it gets his wealth. And that's kind of what the book is about. And it's such a fun read. Next is my first dark romance. It is Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. That's the book. uh, Another 5-star read. It was super fun. I will say the audio book is better than the book. So the voice actors they got for the guy and the girl in this book are phenomenal. It's funny. The sound effects are amazing. It's a comedy dark romance, comedic dark romance, which I thought was a super neat idea. It's kind of why I got the book. Uh, it's fun. It's two serial killers who fall in love with each other and kill other serial killers. It's so unique, and it is very dark. I would read the trigger warnings before you delve into this book because it's got some gross stuff and some icky stuff. Uh, but I thought it was very, very well written and fun. The second book, the one after this, does terrify me because of the trigger warning, so I'm not sure I'm going to read it. I haven't decided yet. But this was a 5-star read for me. Next, the books that have been taking up my life. First, I read the tandem reads Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. And then next, I finally finished Kingdom of Ash, this big old boy. These 3 books, dude, I'm going to have to do a separate episode of piecing this all together. So, Tower of Dawn, I gave 4 stars. Empire of Storms, I gave 5 stars. And the very controversial, especially in my household, the very controversial rating was I gave 4 stars to Kingdom of Ash instead of 5. I'm gonna have to do a separate video and just go over all 3 of these because they are so intense. I can't cover that in a couple minutes. And if you've started reading Throne of Glass, I don't want to give spoilers. I would just say that the series was amazing. Sarah J. Maas crushed it. I will agree, for the debate going on, that Throne of Glass is better than ACOTAR, so I'll go ahead and throw my 2 cents in the ring. Most of these books I gave 5 stars to. The ones that I didn't, I gave 4 stars to. Whereas ACOTAR, I think A Court of Frost and Starlight, I gave 3 stars to. So there were no like lulls in that. And I know that's a novella, but even the novella for these books, I gave 4 or 5 stars to. I'd have to go look. But man, it is definitely worth the read. If you have not gotten into these books, I would. It was such a fun read. It was a huge undertaking. And with a channel like this, I didn't want to feel rushed because I do have a ton of books I want to read. I have you guys as TBRs and TBRs I'm wanting to do. And it just felt ginormous to like dig through these in a few weeks. I would highly recommend taking your time with the series. every character that's introduced really get to know, because it seems as if every person introduced throughout the 8 books has a major part once you get into these final 3. And yeah, this phenomenal books, phenomenal series. Like I said, I'm going to have to do a separate video for those because it's just such an undertaking to get into them. The next 2 were audiobooks, so I don't have the physical books with me. At work this month, I had some time to listen to books, and so I delved into these. So, this first book, goodness, where do I begin? It was an audiobook. It's called You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose, and that is what the book looks like. Uh, this book, I gave it 2 stars, and it is probably the lowest rated book I have read, at least in the most recent history. It's supposed to be a thriller, and it's just some of the quotes in this book could not get over. So I'll try and remember a couple. One was, uh, she thought she was nothing. I thought she was everything, which means she was something. It was supposed to be this like key like phrase in the book, and it just didn't hit. And then at one point, he's supposed to be like, or the guy in the book is supposed to be like this Southern charm fellow. And he was using phrases, and I'm from the South. I'm from Louisiana. Uh, Now I live in Pittsburgh, but that's where I was born and raised. And just he used phrases I had never even heard of, like she was like a raw onion rubbed on the skin for mosquitoes. I could not get into this book. The whole thing was kind of cringy. Uh, I apologize for hating on the book. It was I'd say well written. It was well written. It's just some of the stuff for me was not hitting. Some of the phrases, some of the terms. But I will say it was amusing. So I was laughing, but the problem is it is supposed to be a serious thriller, and I just, maybe it's the fact it was an audiobook, I don't know, but I was dying laughing this whole book, and it was just so hard to get through. But yeah, that's where I was with that book. It was a 2-star read, and I don't want to say anything else negative about it. It was not for me. Uh, the next book was also an audio book, and it was my first Frida McFadden book, and it was The Perfect Son. This is that book. I guess I could throw a little book up too if you don't want to just see my phone. I gave this one 5 stars. It was phenomenal. Complete opposite of the last book. So this was a thriller. It was kind of my redemption because I don't read thrillers. So I was like, look, I'll give thrillers another chance. I hope this one's better than the last one, and it was perfect. It was amazing. The ending was amazing. Uh, it was thrilling. So this book is about. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about that last book. You Shouldn't Have Came Here. I guess I should go back and say real quick what it's about. Basically, this girl from New York City, or from the city, likes to get away from her busy lifestyle. So she goes out to the Midwest to this cabin out in the middle of nowhere and stays at this guy's Airbnb, which he's also in. He's just renting out a room in his house. And all of his friends and family are a bunch of weirdos and start treating her weird and showing up at odd hours. And anything more than that will kind of spoil it because it is a thriller, but it's just, that's basically the premise of the book. So back to the one I'm on, The Perfect Son by Frida McFadden. It is about, how do I explain it? A mother's raising a mother raising a son who is a sociopath, and kind of her point of view on, how far can your child go before you don't love them, or should you ever not love them? Should you hide things? Should you encourage certain things? So she starts to learn more about sociopaths and their lack of emotions and her dealing with it, and wondering if, what part of him is like reading the room and acting like he's showing emotion or if it could be real. It's basically this mom's like inner dialogue of this sociopathic son. It starts off with he's like 6 or 7 years old, uh, and goes through. It's phenomenal. I loved it. It was a 5-star read, and it was so fun. It was an easy, quick like book, and I'm very excited to read more of her work. I had always heard great things, but had never delved into Frida McFadden's books, and now I'm very excited to get into more. So this was a awesome thriller, and I highly recommend it. This next one is one of the few romance books I have read. It is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, and that is the book. I gave this 5 stars. If I could, I would give it more. It was phenomenal. And like I said in one of the previous videos, I'm starting to see like maybe I do like romantasy and romance more than I like high fantasy and sci-fi, because books like this just make me super happy. This one was so good. If you haven't read it, it is it's like a science romance. There's a word for it. I think it's STEM romance. Call it beaker romance. Anyways, it is a grumpy sunshine, fake dating, are kind of the tropes of this book romance, and it is so cute. It is fun. I would say if you're concerned with or wanting spice, I would say it's like 2 chili peppers. It's nothing crazy, but there is some smut in it. Um, Boy, I am going to be delving hard into Ali Hazelwood's books in the near future because I loved this book. I loved Bride. Every book I have read of her so far has been a 4.5 or a 5-star read. The last one was 4.5 just because of, I think I've gone over it, but there was like one scene in Bride where I was like, that's super weird. And I just downgraded it. But this book, super fun, super sweet book. And it really made me realize that maybe romance is for me. And I am looking forward to reading more Ali Hazelwood. So if you have any suggestions of her books or authors who are similar to her writing style, please drop them in the comments, because I'm going to be going on like a little romance arc. And boy, I loved this book. And I think you will too. It's so good. So that is all of my reads for the past 6 weeks. And now I will get into the TBR. There is another booktuber by the name of Graham Matthews, and he suggested that me and him start a bromance book club, and we're going to start by reading the Bromance Book Club. And hopefully by next weekend, we will have a video up of us doing a video together and going over our thoughts of this book. It is a romance about, so if I believe it's about a man who is having trouble with his marriage or is recently divorced or going through a separation. Either way, his buddies find out and they're like, hey, dude, we just started a book club where we're all going to read romance books and try and be more like these guys in the books to fix our marriages or work on our relationships or help us with women. And that is what this book is about. So I am excited about it. Like I just said, I love romance. Graham Matthews is an amazing booktuber. His editing, his ideas are all amazing, super funny. He goes by Book Daddy too, I think, instead of Bookish Daddy. So I think it'll be a fun video. We're going to get together, kind of do I guess you'd call it a little podcast, and go over our thoughts for this, and hopefully have that up next week. And that'll be that. For the TBR, I had you all do a poll on Instagram. All of you who do follow me on Instagram, I used a couple different emojis. I'll throw those up right here to vote left or right and see who would win. And that's the one I'll go over first. So as you can see, the book on the right won. The book on the left, the loser, was Hounded by Kevin Hearn. It was over here. And I put a dog and a wizard because this is about a druid and his dog. Um, in today's time period, um, they're kind of so he's on the run because he stole a sword centuries ago, and they just found him. He owns a bookstore in Tempe, Arizona, uh, and it's supposed to be a fantasy comedy. And I thought those two little emojis would kind of give you an idea of what it was. It's a very obscure book. I had never really heard of it, so I'm hoping that you all got the idea of what it was. This one lost though. The book that won, I am super excited that you all picked because it is a dark romance pirate book called The Ever King, and it is by L.J. Andrews. I chose this to be on my TBR last month and did not get a chance to get around to it. I was hoping that you would all pick this book so that I have a redemption arc this month. And I am for sure going to try and read this. I cannot wait to get into this book. This is the winner. I read it before in a previous video. I'll read it again. It says, "They stole his crown, so he stole their daughter. For years, Eric, the scarred king of the Ever Kingdom, has thought of nothing but vengeance against the man who killed his father and trapped him beneath the waves, making Eric a prisoner in his own realm. When his enemy's daughter unwittingly breaks the chains on the Ever, and Eric plans to toss her into his game of revenge. She's innocent, he's vicious, but he will take back what he lost, no matter the price, unless she steals his heart first." Dude, I'm here for it. So, dark romance, dark, pirates. I'm super excited about this book. I'm glad you all picked it. Now for the jar. We will do some TBR prompts that have been written for me by my beautiful children and lovely wife and see what we get. Let's see. I think I'm going to draw 4. We'll do 4 plus this book, so 5 for the month. And the Bromance Club will be the books I'm trying to read this month. The first prompt is a book that matches your shirt. And that is one of my kids. I do not know which one. Let's see if you can see that. So, a book that matches my shirt. I've got a couple. In case you can't see, it's Adventure Time, and it is blue. I can pick between Twisted Love, which I have not read. It is by Anna Huang. Alex Volkov is a devil blessed with the face of an angel and cursed with a past he can't escape. Well, that sounds cute. Twisted Love. Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner, which is the second one to Godkiller. The Housemaid, and that is by Frida McFadden, who I was just talking about. So that might be fun. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Kind of matches my shirt. And Brandon Sanderson's The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. A lot of good ones that match my shirt. This one probably matches it the best. So I think out of those books, I'm going to pick Twisted Love by Anna Huang. You are the light to my dark, sunshine. Without you, I'm lost. Sounds like a good book. I have been wanting to read this series, or at least kind of delve into it to see if I like it. So that is the first book I am going to go with. Let's see here. The next prompt is a book your wife gave 5 stars. So I'm assuming my wife wrote that one. Oh, if you can see it. There we go. All right. So I went through my wife's 5-star books and have a few to pick from. We have Caraval by Stephanie Garber, which is one of her favorite books ever. It is a series, and I believe it's kind of Alice in Wonderland-ish. I'm not 100% sure, but she loves these books. The next book is Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce, which is another book that she read a couple months ago and gave 5 stars to. It is supposed to be a cozy romance about D&D players, I believe. That sounds super cool. Legends and Lattes. So I'm starting to see a vibe here. This is by Travis Baldray. It is about it's a cozy fantasy too. It is about a orc that wants to open a coffee shop. She's done with battling and all the craziness that her life of being a warrior has given her, and wants to settle down and read books and open a coffee shop. I have not read this. I've heard amazing things though. And then The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. This book I have no idea what this book is about. I just know it's on her list as a 5-star read. It says, "My lovers all feel the need to give me nice things, very expensive things. It's been a fun game, learning their secrets, seducing them, getting them to shower me with gifts. But to be honest, I'm bored with it. I have a new game in mind. I'm going to woo the king. I suspect it won't be longer than a month before he's helplessly in love with me. And when he proposes, I will say yes for the first time. For once the marriage is official and consummated, I will kill the Shadow King and take his kingdom for myself." Now, that sounds pretty cool. So out of these 4 5-star reads, I think I'm going to go with Dungeons and Drama. I have actually been wanting to read this book. It sounds super cute and cozy. I play D&D. I'm very nerdy, video games, and I've been enjoying romances. So that is going to be my second pick. A new to you author. I have never read anything from Robin Hobbs, so I am picking The Assassin's Apprentice as one of the ones. Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. I've never read any of his work. And then Empire of a Vampire by Jay Kristoff. Yeah, those will be the 3 I'm picking from. And the one I'm going to pick is Empire of the Vampire, because I've been dying for a reason to read this book, and now I have one. So I will add this to the list, and I will draw one more. The final prompt is a book with magic. So that's a good prompt. I like that. A book that has magic in it. I have a few options. The first one I'm going to be picking from is King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair, and that is that book. Let's see. The Adrian who held me now carried his age within his eyes, which were burdened by heartbreak, and I wondered if that was what had made this man a monster. So, I believe this is another romance fantasy vampire book, which I love all 3 of those things, so that's always a top contender. The Magician's Daughter by H.G. Perry is the next book. A young woman is caught between 2 worlds in this spellbinding tale of miracles, magic, and an island that might have been. Off the coast of Ireland sits a legendary island hidden by magic, a place of ruins and ancient trees, sea salt air, and fairy lore. That sounds really good. Interesting. Next is one I went over earlier, and it is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook by Brandon Sanderson. That's got lots of magic, I'm sure. And then the last book is The Familiar by Leigh Badargo. I hear there's little bits of magic in this. I don't really think I want to read a historical fantasy right now. I've read tons of Brandon Sanderson, so I think I'm going to skip on that one as well. So I think I'm going to knock it down to these last 2, and I'm going to do King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair and add another vampire book. to the TBR. So, the 4 books that we got for the TBR are King of Battle and Blood, which is the vampire romance, Empire of the Vampire, which is a vampire fantasy, Dungeons and Drama, which is a cozy romance, and Twisted Love, which is another romance. I think it's smutty, though. And then you all picked The Ever King, which is a dark romance pirate series. And then I have the book I am trying to read with Graham Matthews, and that is the Bromance Book Club. So, quite the undertaking this month. I'm going to try and read as much as I possibly can. Thank you all so much for picking a book for me to read. I'm going to try and get to it immediately. And thank you all for watching the content today. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you continue to enjoy what I'm putting out. Man, y'all have a good week. Get ready for Mother's Days. It's coming up. Your wife, your mom, your spouse's mom, whoever it may be, get them something wonderful, some flowers, a gift, take them out to the movies, nice dinner. I might try and do a video to go over something to do with mom books. I don't know, something to do with moms and books, or maybe have a mom pick my books. That might be fun. Either way, tell your mothers you love them. Spend the day with them. It'll mean the world to them. And to all the mothers out there, I would like to say thank you so much for everything that you do. I love Mother's Day. I have, a wonderful mom. My wife is a beautiful mother, and I have a lot of respect for all the women who are moms and put up with all us kids when we are kids being heathens. So thank you again, and I hope you all have a great week and weekend. And go ahead and like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content. If you're not, let me know why. Just drop a comment down there, and I'll try and change it up a little bit.